All right, guys. So this video is essentially like it was inspired by after doing my Indominus in the Boiling Isles video. I decided, you know what? Let's do a similar video. And also, I rewatched the extended edition of King Kong last night, of the Peter Jackson King Kong movie last night, and it just kind of gave me this idea. Yeah. So what you're So this video basically is, what if the V-Rexes invaded Isla Sorna? So that's the idea. Is what if you took all the V-Rexes from Skull Island and dropped them in Isla Sorna? And how bad would it be? Because I guarantee you it's gonna be bad. Like, it's so bad, guys. It's real bad. Like, the fact that I would put the entire V-Rex family on one island that's already carnivore, that's overpopulated by carnivores, is a bad idea, especially things like the V-Rex, which already outsize the T-Rex and the Spinosaurus, and we'll get to that more in a bit. But not only that, they're an active. The V-Rex family is also a fucking pack hunting group, and on top of that, not only are they bigger, their bone structure allows them to be more agile, and they also hunt the Skull Island brontosaurs, which are larger than any sauropod on Isla Sorna. Quick answer. The quick answer to this little video is, yeah, it's gonna be bad. Like, it's so bad, guys. It's so bad. It's just gonna be a bad time for everyone. But let's talk about like how bad it would be. Now, like I said, Isla Sorna is already a carnivore, a carnivore heavy island. It's not like with Isla Sorna, where really it's only the Rex and maybe some other dinosaurs here and there, like the Dilophosaurs. The raptors were gone on Nublar, and really it was only Rexy that was the alpha predator there, and she was the only Rex there. It isn't the same on Sorna, where you have an active raptor, a growing velociraptor population, two different species of velociraptors, mind you. You also have the Spinosaurus, and according to a lot of the Jurassic Park files, the other major thing is that there were at least 7 T-Rexes on the island at the time. So we apply all that. Not to mention there were other, like Ceratosaurus. There was also medium-sized carnivores. And yeah, Nublar did have, Nublar also had Herrerasaurus. I forgot to mention it had Herrerasaurus. It had Protoceratops. And this is before, like, Jurassic World. Proceratosaurus. So Nublar did have some carnivores, but the herbivore to carnivore ratio on Nublar was vastly different. Here, the carnivore to herbivore ratio is a massive gap. So when we drop the V-Rexes into this, onto Sorna, it's already like let's talk about environment. Sorna is not too dissimilar from Skull Island, especially with Skull Island shrinking every year. You have to understand that, like, the only thing that could really compete, there was nothing really that could compete with the Vistatosaurus Rex. There was nothing there except the Kongs. And the Kongs were herbivores. They were the only animals that could fight them. But the thing is, the Kongs couldn't breed as fast as the V-Rexes could. The V-Rexes could have multiple eggs and multiple offspring. So, like most reptiles, to keep, competition from, from killing off the others. So there'd be a higher chance of the bloodline survival. Where it isn't like with the Kong, who had 1 or 2 babies every few years. They could crank out babies every so often. So they were already the dominant apex predator at that point. And the island only got smaller and again, I'm talking about Peter Jackson's Kong, just to be clear. The island only got smaller and smaller and smaller as time went on. That's kind of another big issue that you have to remember, is that the island didn't grow, and resources got tighter. And the V-Rexes were only more and more populating until, like, they started interbreeding. That's why they looked a little fucked up in the movie, because they were getting to the point where they were all dying off and eating each other or interbreeding with each other, to the point where it's just like a Sawyer family of V-Rexes. So if we put the V-Rexes on Isla Sorna, competition is just going to, like, there was nothing there on Skull Island, even the Kongs, that could compete with the V-Rexes. Here, that's not going to change. Like, honestly, if you put the V-Rex family on Isla Sorna, nothing fucking changes, because the Rex can't compete with that. 7 T-Rexes as opposed to, like, yeah, the V-Rexes themselves are bigger. And the T-Rexes, like, let's say it's, if we say the V-Rex family, let's say, like, there was about 3 of them. 4 of them. But at that point, the other thing that the V-Rexes have that the T-Rex don't, not just size, maneuverability, and also just a stronger bite force, they have something that the T-Rexes don't really have, and that's teamwork. They hunted in packs. They were more than willing to cooperate for food. So the T-Rexes can only get to like 40, 43 feet in length. The V-Rexes could get to 55 feet in length. And they could fight as like a coherent family. Buck and Doe are going to get, like, the Buck and Doe were the only known T-Rexes to actually be cooperative. And we don't know if the other 5 T-Rexes, male or female regardless, were a bonded pair. We don't know that for sure. There's nothing there that really says, hey, these are related, these are related pairs. These are bonded pairs. So the T-Rexes are going to get overwhelmed by the V-Rexes if they start trying to fight for competing, for food. Now, the other lesser predators like the raptors, yeah, they can't fight them. The Venatosaurs, or the Venatosaurus, the Venatosaurs, which are the evolved raptors, could kill like the younger adolescent V-Rexes, but for the most part, the V-Rexes, like I said, were the dominant predator of Skull Island. They were eating the V-Raptors. I'm just going to call them that because I can't pronounce that name. So the V-Raptors were getting eaten too. So the Velociraptors, even though they're more intelligent, they're also, well-equipped pack hunters. There's really nothing they could do to get past that incredibly thick hide. There's really nothing that they could do to really stop that. So the raptors are going to be chased off of any prey they kill. The herbivores, yeah, like I said, the brontosaurs on Skull Island were larger than any sauropod on Isla Sorna. So the fact of the matter is, you had brachiosaurs, you had titanosaurs, you had several large sauropods and other, like, massive herbivores. But nothing was like Skull Island. Even though the island was shrinking, everything was vastly bigger. So the the V-Rexes are just going to come in and just start killing for food, and they need to take a lot. There's a massive calorie intake, and since the animals are smaller here, the calorie intake is going to be a lot more. So they're going to be killing and eating more and breeding more, and that's just going to be a different dangerous cycle all of itself. Then we get to the Spinosaurus. Oh boy, the Spino. Oh boy, the Spinosaurus. The Spinosaurus, you may say, oh, but the Spino, though. The Spinosaurus was the most deadly predator on the island. There was nothing that could stop the Spinosaurus. It was even like in the files of InGen's files. Even in InGen's files, there was nothing on Earth that could, on Isla Sorna, that could stop it. It was an extinction level creature. And you're right. The Spinosaurus is, remember, a early proto-hybrid that Wu created, and it is considered like an extinction-level predator. However, it's one predator, and while it kind of roughly matches up with the V-Rexes in size, and also could probably kill one, you got to remember that the V-Rexes were more than willing to fight as a coherent pack. And like I said, the Spinosaurus could kill the T-Rexes one by one, like a fucking serial killer, because it had size, reach, and intellect on its size, and it could solo them. It's not like here where the V-Rexes could basically gang. If he's fighting one, and already one's going to be dangerous enough, his fight is going to attract the other V-Rexes, and they're going to move in and jump him. So it's not like with Kong where he could probably outthink most of them. The Spinosaurus was more driven on like just pure unadulterated rage. So he could I could easily see him getting overwhelmed here. All in all, if you drop the V-Rexes onto Isla Sorna, they're going to be a bigger extinction event than the Spinosaurus ever could be. They are just going to absolutely curb stomp everything in their path. But you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you guys think? Do you think the V-Rexes solo Isla Sorna? Or do you think the dinosaurs of Sorna could probably keep the V-Rexes in check? Just comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.